every time I would come back from New York, back home.
How often would you come back?
At least once a year.
Once a year.
Yeah. But every time I would come back, I would compare it to how technology advancements are happening in New York City versus Pristina or Albania or Skopje, right?
Yeah.
So you would see big differences. I remember,
it's a culture shock every time.
It is.
Yeah.
And one night I was staying with my family, and I opened the laptop. Yeah. My dad was sitting with me in the living room, and I'm like, it was late. Like intuitively, I opened the laptop, and I'm like, I'm going to order a pizza. So my dad is looking at me weird why I opened the laptop to order a pizza. And then I realized I'm in Kosovo, and he goes, why did you open the laptop? I'm like, well, I forgot. He goes, what do you mean you forgot? I'm like, well, in New York, you can order online. And he looked at me. I still remember that look, with a weird look, as not as in, oh, that doesn't exist here. He looked at me as in, are you okay? And that's it. What are you BSing me in a way, right? So that's where I realized that not only this technology doesn't exist there, but people can't even think about it. Obviously, my dad
can't even imagine it at this point, yeah.
And that's where I knew there is a big opportunity. For me, it was very obvious how to even create that at that time. I could create a website that's connected to the back office to actually accept orders and do a simple e-commerce. And for others, that was even conceivable conceptually. And that's why I realized there is a big opportunity, and I realized there is a big impact to be done. Moreover, I realized a lot of international companies to this day are not even present in the region. Some are, some aren't. Like PayPal doesn't even work in Kosovo, Albania, even today. It doesn't.
What? Really?
No, it doesn't. No. So
wow.
It works, but you need to do workarounds. You need to find only certain credit cards. So it's very complex. There is no Uber. Wolt just came last week, 2 weeks ago. Yeah. I mean, it's just so recent. And it's like close to Europe, but completely neglected by the old players. So that's why the impact in the community seemed to be bigger. So now the community is Balkans, Western Balkans in particular. It's still ignored. It's a region completely ignored. It's not part of EU, and we strive to look at Bulgaria and Greece or Czech Republic as countries to look up to what's next, right? And we try to bring it there, and that's one way.
Or you leapfrog it. You go directly to the next level.
True, but I agree. But
like for instance, just accepting the euro.
True, we did.
Without being in the Eurozone. I was so impressed by that.
Euro came out on January 1st, 2002, for the first time in Europe. Yeah. January 1st, 2002, Euro was in my pocket in Pristina. So when I went to America on January 4th, I actually had euros with me. So and it's not EU, at least it's not yet.
Not yet, yes. Is it why you decided then to come back to Kosovo? Because you wanted to introduce the future to the region? That
was the second reason. The first reason is I wanted to do something in that region. I had a few companies in the States too. Yeah. Some of them failed. I had a few failures in there. But the region and the idea, the problem, were a combination of why I came back.
When I was in Kosovo, I was actually very impressed to what extent the people there are, even though many of them live abroad, studied abroad, and they've been forced, many of them, to do that, are still very much connected emotionally to Kosovo. And they return every summer and they spend their money there, and they contribute in many different ways how the country can develop further. And I started wondering, do you need a tragedy like that, to connect people back to their roots, to their homes? Can you relate maybe in a different way to what you see now in the world? Because you know how this actually affects a country and its people?
I think it's a good question. I think it's a culture thing more. It's not just Kosovo, Albania. I think the whole region overall, it's more group culture as opposed to individualistic culture.
Okay. So we think more as a community and less as
individualistic.
Individualistic.
So in one end of the
entities.
spectrum, you have individualistic cultures such as Switzerland, Germany, US. It's more, and on the other hand, you have more group cultural countries such as our region in overall. And it's actually scientifically proven. It's not just an opinion. There is an instrument called LPI, leadership practices, and like on my MBA thesis, I had used that to compare Portugal, Slovenia, Kosovo in US.
Okay.
But individualistic cultures typically tend to succeed more than group cultures when it comes to innovation and pushing things forward. Cultural are, because group thinking is more shared, it's not driven by one individual, so it's more, it has that advantage of certain empathy more, but the success actually lies on the other side of the spectrum, as according to this instrument, LPI, leadership.
Do you believe that in this sense we need to overcome our collective dynamics or community dynamics in order to be even more successful as innovation hubs?
I don't think so. I prefer this one. I prefer more cultural empathy, family, community. It's more meaningful.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons why I decided to stay in the region, to be honest. I mean, Vienna, where I spent a big part of my life, is not that far away, but it's still culturally different.
It is.
And I didn't even realize that I miss it, but when I came back to Bulgaria, all of a sudden I started developing friendships which were completely unconditional, which were not opportunistic the way that they were in Austria. They were not interest driven. And I would develop within 2 years friends who I can probably call at 4 o'clock in the morning if I have a trouble somewhere on the motorway. Yeah. And I don't think that there is one in Austria that I can. They will probably refer me to the next, I don't know, motorway service or whatever. They call this number. I mean, why are you calling me?
If they were to pick up, they might not.
If they were to pick up at all,
they might not even pick up.
Exactly.
So I think it's the culture, and I think it's a good thing, right? But also in particular, what happens in addition to traditional cultural community group type of characteristics, it's because of the war. A lot of people are very much connected to the region. A lot of people, they had no choice but to go and study abroad.
Yes.
Right? And then they would come back because that's all they knew.
And if you're just as passionate about innovation as we are, hit subscribe for the Recursive Podcast on your YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. We're everywhere.